All right, once again, thank you to everybody who's supporting this to keep things going. We've been getting good response with the tip jar. Every little bit counts. Those of you that are throwing $5, $10, $15, $20 means just as much to us as anybody that's throwing more at us. I'll take this opportunity to answer the question we get. Okay, how do we tip? How do we help with this? So the information is Zelle. If you want to Zelle us some money, the email there is payment@wildmanphil.com. If you'd like to Venmo, our handle there is wildmanphil, all one word, but with a capital W and a capital P. And if you'd like to PayPal, that one is presentations@desertwildlife.net. Bradley Davis, I don't know if you're the first one, I just happened to see you come on here. So Nicole Hansen from Coolidge, thanks. So Bradley Davis, where are you watching from? Diana Marzak, thank you. Rachel, glad to see you. Katie Barber, hey. Okay, Katie Baker, sorry. Hi, Wildman Phil. Sorry, I'm about to get in front of the camera. Won't be able to see all those. So I'm glad to see you guys jump on early there. I'm always wondering oh, Anthony. Good morning, Anthony. Got the shout out to you there. Thanks to everybody who's been watching. We've been getting viewers all over the world actually, but all over the country especially. Today we're going to get away from Arizona's stuff a little bit, and we're going to talk about something that we find in other areas. The snapping turtles. That's something that everybody's heard of, but people are wondering, hey, what makes a snapping turtle a snapping turtle? Well, you see some of these turtles snapping at their food. They're not snapping turtles, though. Those guys are the just turtles that are snapping. So, all right, who we got coming on here? Steve Jackson, new to the live broadcast. Brave Wilderness sent you. Thank you. Want to give a big, huge shout out to my buddy Coyote Peterson and my friend Mario Aldecoa and Mark Livens and everybody else involved with the Brave Wilderness broadcasting. Great friends of mine. They do wonderful things. Neat guys to hang out with as well. But thank them for throwing anybody over to here. And of course, everybody that's following me live here, if you want to continue along, tomorrow jump an hour earlier, which is 10 a.m. Arizona time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Jump over to YouTube, to the Brave Wilderness YouTube channel. They've got live going there. If you want to catch that, you have to be on live. Unless you're a premium member, then you can watch it any other time, I guess. But they've got some classroom style stuff they've been doing. Wonderful things going on there. They give you homework, fun homework even, and everything. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into talking about snapping turtles. Now, a lot of turtles snap. That just means that they stick their mouth out to bite, as you saw some of these eating some of their turtle food here. And of course, that doesn't make them a snapping turtle. Now, any turtle, even a red-eared slider that people pick up from a pet store on the side of the road or from a friend's pond, you put your hand in front of its face, it wants to protect itself, and to do that, it will snap or bite. If it misses, it makes a snapping sound. But there's actually two types of snapping turtles here in the U.S. They're found in the eastern part of the country, not something we have here out west, but they are actually snapping turtles. Now, they go by a few different names. Some people know them as maybe mud dragons, maybe you have them as water dinosaurs, whatever, snappers. But the first one I want to talk about is the common snapping turtle. And the common snapping turtle generally likes to stay down in the bottom, kind of mixed into the murk and the mud, hence the name mud dragon. They're usually an ambush predator, just sitting there waiting for a fish or a crawdad or something to come by and then bite at it. So I'm going to dig this one out of here, and since he's down at the bottom hiding, but you'll see that he would blend in very well at the bottom of a lake or a pond. And, well, there we go. Now, this one's not exactly a big guy. Let's step out of here in the away from here just a bit. See if we can get a good look at that. There you go. Snapping action right from the get-go. Now, this guy's kind of small to medium, let's be honest, right? We've all seen pictures. These guys get to be pretty good size when they're full grown. But you see that snapping action there. You see that, that big, strong mouth. And, of course, you saw earlier how fast that was. If you missed it, that just proves the point. Go back and watch it later. But the snapping turtle does make a snapping sound when it bites, and they bite very quickly. The reason for this is they live underwater. He's watching my hand there. He lives underwater, and if he's eating a fish or a crawdad or a frog or a water bug or an elephant, he's not going to eat an elephant, by the way, he has to be able to bite quickly. Well, underwater, biting quickly takes a lot of pressure, a lot of muscle, because you're going through water. If anybody's ever tried to walk through water, it's a lot harder than walking across the land. But you get him out of the water, and there's none of that resistance, and that makes it even faster. And this guy here, very good. He's like right on cue, up and over, trying to see if he can get a hold of me up here. But I want to show you a few things about snappers that are different from other turtles. First off, like any turtle, they have the carapace, the plastron, the parts of the turtle. But the bottom, look at that bottom. Doesn't have a very big bottom, does he? No. This guy's plastron is very small, kind of a little T-shape. Not going to protect it much. Well, he doesn't need all that for protection. He's not a box turtle or a mud turtle hiding inside his closed up shell. He's fine with something coming close and protecting himself using that snapper. Now, to give you an idea of kind of how this works, I'm going to see if we can show you what would happen if I was to put my finger too close. I know you're thinking it's time for me to go, hey, 25 people say it, I'll do it. Well, I'm not gonna this time. Sorry. I brought a fake finger with, also known as a hot dog. Let's say this is my finger, though. And let's say I'm talking to you and I go, oh, look at this turtle. This guy over here has this and this. And I'm pointing to him. Woo, see, I'm good and quick. And I try to point it out. Now, if this is my finger and he decides, oh, I'm going to take a bite out of that, which, oh, he missed again. This is good. He's really focusing on me, as you probably noticed. He's waiting for my real finger. He's not falling for this, is he? There we go. By the way, if I was to hold him up in here, he can't really reach with that. But, once again, if he thinks my finger's here, he's good and quick. Oh, he got some of my finger! You didn't even see that happen, did you? But if that's your finger, that's about what it would look like now. Well, there'd be blood and other stuff. That would be terrible. You get the idea. Now, he wasn't biting because he was thinking it was food. So he still got it in his mouth because he's thinking, hey, wait a minute here. I was trying to protect myself. So now he has a piece of what he thinks is finger in there. And, of course, I'm going to go ahead and leave him alone. He will probably spit that out if he thinks that he's a little threatening. Yeah, and then he wants to try again. So you get the idea. Do you see how fast that was? These guys can bite very, very fast. You want to try again, don't you? He's really upset about my finger here. Yeah, right in his mouth. Oh, you're such a cute guy. Woohoo! This is why I use a hot dog in case I miss. Yeah, you get the idea. But there's more about him than just that big snapping power. You see his feet, he's got some claws. They're not super sharp. That's because those are for just digging down into the mud. Now, the females, they do use their claws in the back to dig holes to lay eggs and that sort of thing. But this is the common snapping turtle. Oh, we have a question coming in.
How hard is the bite of a snapping turtle?
Super hard. Yeah, there's all kinds of stories about how hard snapping turtles can bite. Things like, oh, a big one can snap a broomstick in half and different things. Yeah, they bite pretty hard, but the biggest thing is that their mouth has all of the sharp pointed edge there, and it's more like a beak. So it's kind of like getting bit by a macaw. Don't ever do that. That's terrible stuff right there. Another question coming in, though, yes.
How much can he typically bite off in one bite?
Oh, if he wanted to, he could take a big... But the other thing is, a lot of times he not only just bites off a chunk of something, he'll bite onto it, and then he can kind of start swallowing it down. So if a fish comes by, he might take a chunk out of it. Then, of course, that fish is going to die. He can follow after it, find it, take more pieces, or get a big chunk and swallow it down. I don't know if he wants to actually show you how big of a bite he could do here, but... that's a pretty big bite right there. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but that's a big chunk of meat there. Works out pretty well for him. Now, looking at the plaster on this guy, you'll notice he has a bunch of green growth on there. That's algae. He lives underwater. He blends in with the rocks because he looks like a rock. He has algae growing on him. That shows how much time he spends underwater. Another question coming in, though.
How big can they get?
Oh, these guys can get to be, 30, 40, 50 pounds. I've heard some pretty good records on those. I know my buddy Coyote caught one over 30 pounds once, and that's size-wise, we're talking about a turtle that's like this big or so. And imagine the head on that guy and the mouth on that guy is going to be quite a bit bigger than what you're looking at here. Now, I think now you can get a good look. You see why they might call him a mud dragon? Yeah, look at his tail. Looks kind of like a dragon's tail. Yeah. And, of course, he can shoot fire out of it. No, he can't shoot fire out of his mouth. That doesn't work underwater even if he could. That'd be fun to watch. It'd be like just steam coming out. Another question, though. Sorry, got off topic.
Is there any record of a snapping turtle killing a person?
There are some definite records of people getting injured severely. There's stories, I don't know how true, and if there are records of somebody dying from a snapping turtle bite. If so, it'd be because they bit you in an area where you ended up bleeding out, couldn't get to medical attention fast enough kind of thing. Another question.
How much can they eat in one day?
Oh, see, that's a kind of a tricky question, but it's a very good question. How much can they eat in one day? Well, it depends, because being as they're out in the wild, not eating every day, it might be a week, it might be 2 weeks before they get a meal. And if that's the case, then they can eat a lot. So good-sized snapping turtles will eat a full duck sometimes. They'll eat a couple of really big fish on occasion. But then they don't get to eat again for a day. So he's not going to eat like, a bluegill every day per se. What he might do is eat, a little bit bigger fish one day, maybe, a whole hot dog tomorrow, and then nothing the next day or very little. Question.
How fast can they swim?
Oh, good question. I was just thinking about putting him back in and seeing if you could see that. This guy can swim pretty fast, but a lot of times they actually just kind of walk along the bottom of the lakes and rivers where they live. Let's see if we can put him in and get him to swim a little for you. Once again, raw live here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see everything here, but I'm going to put him down, see if we can get him to swim away. And it was kind of a moseying swim. Out in the wild, if I was trying to catch him, he'd be going a little bit faster. He's over there hiding with his buddy. Yeah. Now that he's in the water, if I give him just a second, keep watching him, what I'll do is see if he wants the rest of his hot dog underwater. Now he smells, there's meat. Oh, there we go. Now he's got the hot dog. He's gonna bite off a chunk of that. Now, once again, like most turtles, he's gonna walk away. He's like, uh-oh, another turtle coming. Got to protect my food. Yeah. Usually, though, he'll grab his claws and kind of use that to push off a chunk. Another question coming in.
Where do they come from?
They're found in the eastern United States, Midwest and East, for all of you. So a lot of you probably live in an area where snapping turtles are. By the way, for those watching here in Arizona, California, Nevada, New Mexico, all of us western states, Washington, Oregon, all that, we don't have snapping turtles here. In fact, I actually have to have a permit just to have this little guy here. And of course, can't take him out to a big pond. But I think we're doing good. But you know what? We've talked common snapping turtle. Let's talk about the other snapping turtle, the alligator snapping turtle. Alligator snapping turtles are the largest of our water turtles here in North America, and the alligator snapping turtle, you'll probably see in a bit, is very aptly named. It gets bigger than the common snapping turtle, generally has a little better demeanor though, although it's not something you still want to go out and mess with. Now, the alligator snapping turtle that I have, I'm going to try and get out of here. It's a little bit more involved than what it went into to get that common snapper. So I'm going to step into the enclosure of Howard the Beast, our alligator snapping turtle. He lives down in here. He doesn't have any other turtles in here with him. And the reason for that is because one of the favorite foods of alligator snapping turtles is turtles. Yeah, they'll eat other turtles. And so I can't have any in here with him because, of course, then we run low on turtles. He eats a lot of fish and stuff like that. But let me see if we can get him out of here. It's going to be hard to see him, but this is the kind of situation you would find him in. Kind of an area where there's kind of slow-moving water. It's good and clean, but it kind of has some cover for him. So I have to move over here. He likes to hang out by the pump because the water is always moving through there. And it works out well for him. Now I'm going to try and move him over to this area so maybe we can see him. He might reach the water at some point while we're trying this, and you might get an idea of exactly the size we're talking about. But let me see if I can reach out. I always got to make sure I'm getting the right end. All right, here is the back side. And go that way, buddy. All right, so there's the tail. And now we've moved him over there. See if I can get him to move around here and we can get him out of here. There we go, buddy. Nope, not back that way. Come on. Let me get him over to here. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me get him out into the sunlight for you. And we'll talk a little bit about the alligator snapping turtle. Okay. I think everybody can probably see that mouth. That's a little bit bigger. I would lose a finger or three if I tried to put that close. Once again, being able to hold him here, he can't reach me right here in this spot, which is lucky for me. So, a few things different between the alligator snapping turtle and the common snapping turtle. Well, first off, the plastron on the bottom is the same, but the carapace is a little different. You'll see he has these three ridges right here. These three ridges right here are an easy way to tell the snapping turtle, the alligator snapper, from a common snapper. This guy here, he's looking for me. Yeah, now don't go in there. He's like, but I think there's food in there. Yeah, I'm gonna let him walk around just a minute. I wanted to show you his dragon-like tail. Tell you what, buddy, flip him this way. Question coming in though.
Are there predators of the snapping turtles either?
Yes.
Kind?
Usually when they're babies, sometimes even the adults. Once it gets this big, not a whole lot. But in a lot of areas where these guys live, because they live in the southeastern part of the country, the alligator snapper, he does have some things that will try and eat it, like an alligator or something. Usually it's when they're smaller, raccoons, opossums, foxes, herons, things like that. Of course, sometimes big fish and things will eat the baby turtles. Another question though.
Will a smaller habitat hinder their growth?
No. Well, maybe to some degree, but as long as they have the right temperatures and the right food, they're going to continue to grow. And sometimes they actually save energy by being in a smaller area. Quick question, sorry.
Oh, what do they eat?
Oh, these guys will eat whatever they want. They eat a lot of fish. In fact, they're built for eating fish. And I mentioned an alligator snapper will eat turtles because of his lure system. If you look very closely right down inside here, you may see right down in there a little, looks like a worm right there. You see that? That little wiggly worm is his lure. So this guy will sit down the bottom of a lake or stream and then pull his head back into the shell some and open it up. You'll notice that he's missing, if you will, part of his shell here. He's not really missing it. Snappers don't have that. A lot of turtles have a shell that comes down real low so they can hide. This guy has this open so he can open his mouth. Put that mouth in there, and we'll go ahead and turn him this way a bit. I don't know if we can see that. Can we still see that pretty well? Now, he's got a little leaf in there. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get that out without him being upset. And I'm going to get it out of your way. Yeah, sorry, buddy. I was just trying to help. You got a little leaf there. And there you go. So now, if you look inside there, yeah, hey, they're trying to look in there. There you go. If you look in there, you can see you see it pretty good? That's his little wiggly worm. So it goes down to the bottom, opens the big mouth. A fish is thinking, hey, there's a cool little worm down here. I'm going to grab that for lunch. And when it comes in, bam, suddenly he is lunch. Works out well. Another question coming in, though. Can
you talk about his eyes? Are they open? Does he have goggles?
Oh, very good. If you look at his eyes, for his big old head, where are his eyes? And you're maybe thinking that they're right in here somewhere. No, his eyes are right there. You can kind of see a good close-up there. And he can Well, she'll show you closing his eyes without trying to snap my hand off. He's like, nope, not going to do it today. Don't want to? Okay, that's fine. I get it. But he uses his eyes, of course, underwater to be able to see what it is that he's biting at. And even though they look like little eyes, if you were to see from the top, they actually bulge out. So he can see very well. Now, he can't see too well right here in the middle, but he can definitely feel. And that's when normally you see the attitude there. Oh, another question, sorry.
How much do they typically weigh and how much does he weigh?
Ooh, typically, another question. It's really tough to answer. A good size alligator snapping turtle is gonna be a 50, 60 pounder. This guy's right over 100 pounds. We didn't weigh him today, and he's just getting back into season, but he was right at 100 pounds just about a month ago. And he's gonna end up growing. There's record snapping turtles that have weighed over 200 pounds in captivity. So definitely has some growing, but it's one of those, well, what's typical then? Well, let's be honest, we don't really know about every one of them that's living out somewhere and what they weigh. There's been a lot of research done, and we know that they are heavy. 50 to 100 pounds is good. Stuff above that is pretty much ginormous. Another question coming in, though.
How long can they live?
Oh, once again, being a Chelonian, these guys can live over 100 years. There's stories of some of these living over 150 years. Personally, I think that we don't even know for sure because they spend so much of the time in secret that there's a lot of them we don't know about that have probably been out there for even longer. Yes, another question coming right in.
How old do you think this one is?
This one I happen to know is right around 65, 70 years old. Trying to do some math here. So, yeah, right around 65 years old. This one happened to come from some place that they had it as a baby, and it was in an area where they weren't supposed to have them. They're actually not found out here in the West, and in some places it's illegal to have them because of their ability to eat off all the other animals. So this one ended up pretty much knowing his age, and he's right around 65. Another question coming in, though.
Have you ever been bit by him?
No, and I know y'all want that to happen today, but really it's not something I'm looking forward to doing, mostly because you can imagine the damage he would do. In fact, to give you an idea of what can happen, I'm going to pretend that this chunk of chicken breast is my hand, and I'm going to come over here and go, oh, are you being mad at me? You're not mad at me, are you? No, you're not. Oh, and just like that, I'm now missing. Look inside his mouth there. Yeah, that could be my hand. I like my hands where they're at and the condition they're in. That didn't take very much effort at all on his part. And now, boom, there's a chunk of meat missing. That's why you don't put your legs or your hands or your anything in front or near an alligator snapping turtle. Because, yeah, that tremendous bite, his defense for that, definitely something to worry about. Yeah, another question coming in.
Do snapping turtles hiss?
They do. They can hiss. One of their defensive measures is that if you come across one in the wild, we're gonna hold on just a second here. We got a curious, you can show him. We got a curious tortoise coming over here to say hi. He's thinking, hey buddy, who are you? One of my fellow Chelonians. I haven't seen you ever. Yeah, well here's the thing. You get up there too close, you could be missing your head. We're not really into headless tortoises because even though we have a legless tortoise, or a tortoise missing a leg, that's easy to replace. Heads are a little harder. Head off that way, all right? Back to the green stuff. Woo! Wow, you gotta be careful out here. Oh, so, oh boy, yeah. I don't even remember what we were talking about now. Sorry. Another question, though.
Can they hear?
Oh, can they hear? Yes, they can. In fact, underwater especially, they can kind of hear noises. They use their eyesight a lot more than their hearing, but they do. Now, they don't recognize, like, their name or hear, turtle, turtle. You know, that doesn't work with them. But they can hear. Oh, and we were talking about, before we were interrupted by tortoise over there, about their defense out on the ground. If you happen to come across one of these out of the water, they're gonna get up on all four legs. They're gonna usually look at you and they'll hiss. They'll give you the idea you don't want to mess with them. They're not gonna just sit and wait and go, oh, if he gets too close, I'll bite his foot off. They generally let you know. And I don't know if this guy will kind of show you a little bit here of that. You see how he lifts himself up? Because now he feels a little threatened. I'm touching him back here, and he's going, hey guys, I'm gonna get away from that. Yeah. Well, oh, no, don't go too far that way, buddy. I'll get you back over here. Yeah, you want me to reach down and grab that, don't you? Well, I am not gonna do it with my hands. No, sorry. Yeah, because he's got a pretty long reach. Here, you want another piece there? No? Well, let's see. Let's see if he'll show us one more time. It's just my leg going by.
When he eats, does he chew or does he just swallow it?
He usually bites off a chunk like that. Oh, gimme. Got it. Okay. He didn't get through the little slice of tendon there. When he eats, what he does is he grabs on, well, like this meat, when I'm feeding him, he's gonna grab onto that chicken breast and he'll just swallow that piece whole. He'll get it into there and swallow it down. Sometimes he'll bite little pieces off of something if he can. Sometimes he'll work back and forth kind of chewing things. But generally in the wild, if he's gonna eat something like a fish, he's gonna bite it. It's basically gonna be in half or a big chunk missing, and then he'll go after and find the rest of it and just swallow it down as one big chunk. Now they will eat things like ducks. A big duck swimming on top of the surface, he comes up, bam, right from the bottom. He's usually gonna tear off a leg, he's gonna tear open the insides, and then he's gonna come up and take a few more bites out of that, sometimes taking it down to the bottom of the ground, or the bottom of the lake or the river, and then kind of working it to get it down. If a piece comes off, he just eats that later, unless he doesn't find it. All right, well, another question coming in.
Do they migrate around their area, or do they basically live in the same location?
They will generally live in their same location, especially if it's a good location, their entire life. And this guy, being a guy, he's gonna live there. Now the females, they come out of the water to lay their eggs, but then they'll go usually right back in the same area. Now if something happens and an area dries up, they will move, find the nearest water hole, but that's something that doesn't normally happen in the wild. Another question coming in.
Is there an easy way to determine gender?
Not really. Generally size with the snapping turtles is a pretty good indicator, and if you pick them up and stuff, males generally, they kind of show you they're males, if you will, by putting some stuff out from the base of their tail. Looking at the tails is a way to tell males and females sometimes, but like this guy here, you're having a hard time seeing the tail. But he does have a fairly long tail. Yeah, see, he's strong. It's hard to get that tail out of there. Okay, whew. Well, he looks like he's had his fun coming out and drying off. Snapping turtles don't usually do as much sunning as other turtles, but once again, it's an individual thing. Sometimes they will come up, get some sun, you know, enough to warm up a bit, get the hunger going. All right, well, whew, that's the alligator snapping turtle. I'm gonna take this guy and put him back in here and let you watch how he swims off into the wild. And yeah, let's get you in here. And, yep, ready? Yep, okay. Let me get you in here. There we go. Now, put him in the grass and the plants, but he'd rather go down into the water. So, we can see how he just bloom, and the big behemoth disappears into the deep. Wow. Well, I'm just actually kind of happy I didn't end up getting as wet as I sometimes do having to wrestle that guy. I do have a little algae on me, but hey, that's what happens. So, hope everybody enjoyed learning the difference between the alligator snapping turtle and the common snapping turtle. Got another question coming in real quick though.
When were the alligator snapping turtles discovered?
Oh, I don't really know. That's when you're gonna have to research on your own. We've known about alligator snapping turtles for a long time. We're talking, you know, a couple hundred years, but I don't know exactly when it was that they were discovered. But, oh, another question, hopefully an easier one.
How strong are their shells? Is it easy to break them?
Oh, it's very hard to break them. I, once again, have heard stories of people driving down the road in the backwoods of Louisiana, and all of a sudden, there's a turtle, and they hit it, and it started scampering off the road still. I can't imagine a big one like this. I would be more worried about the condition of my car. That's like hitting a boulder or something. Not that, you know, you want to try and do that, obviously, but they do have a very, very hard shell, and it is very, very strong. So, very good question on that. So, whew, well, all right, once again, I'm going to go ahead and throw out the virtual tip information. I'll put it in the comments as well. Once again, if you want to Zelle to help feed these guys some more chicken, that's great. Or just send chicken, we're good with that. Or frozen fish, or anyway, you get the idea. But if you want to Zelle it, you can use payment at wildmanphil.com. Venmo is wildmanphil, all one word, capital W, capital P. And the PayPal is presentations@desertwildlife.net. Before we get done here, I do want to thank everybody that's been supporting, not just through the virtual tip jars, but a lot of other encouragement going on. Once again, a throw out to my buddy Coyote and Mark and Mario over at Brave Wilderness. Watch their show every day at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Get done there, jump back over here. But also, thanks to all the businesses and companies that have helped us out. We're going to see some creatures coming up that has some direct ties to some of these. But once again, thanks to the CGQ House in Casa Grande. And of course, anybody in Casa Grande still wanting to get some good food and support, get the Wildman Phil sandwich. That's right, only a CGQ House. But also, if everybody here could help me out, go to the Wildman Phil YouTube channel. Here's my challenge today. We only need about 175 more subscribers to be able to go live there, and it's easier for people to find us there. And of course, then we can even monetize and stuff that'll help our efforts quite a bit. So if you could please help me out today by going over and subscribing at the Wildman Phil YouTube channel, that would be great. Of course, while you're there, check out the cool videos. These videos get uploaded to there as we get done with them as well. So thanks again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Better Than a Classroom Edutainment Session. I know you're wondering what's tomorrow. Well, tomorrow we're going to shift gears and kind of go cute again. We're going to talk about some farmyard friends. That's right. Turtle Tuesday is going to be over. We're going to go to the farm. And we'll see the fun farmyard animals we have. Chickens, ducks, goats, sheep, pigs, my kids. I mean, there's a bunch of things we have living on the farm. So join tomorrow. We'll talk to you about all the useful creatures there. With that, Wildman Phil telling you guys to have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this. And we'll see you tomorrow on Better Than a Classroom Edutainment Session, Farmyard Animals.